streaming. All right. Peace and love, everyone. Peace and love to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to The Truth of the Matter 5-part series podcast where we are going to be discussing different aspects of the mortgages. All right. I am Ready Nation Trust, and we have a special guest with us this evening by the name of Money Matters. Say hello to the people.
Hello, peace and love.
Do me a favor as you all come into the broadcast, please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear us. We need to do an audio check. We got to make sure that you all can hear us. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear us, because we have to make sure that our audio is good. You can all just do us that favor. Also, as you come in, please like, subscribe, and share this video out. Share it out to people that you think will need to know about mortgages, right? Because we're going to delve into this topic over the next five sessions. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. So I hope that you all will tune in with us until the very end. All right, just stay connected with us. All right, peace and love to everyone. So, our topic of discussion for today, we're going to be talking about what people need to know before they get to the closing table in terms of a mortgage. So, money matters. Let me ask you a question. What are some of the key things that people need to know and or prepare for before they get to the closing table? Because I know people just think that they can go in and sign their documents and it's all good. But there is another side to the mortgage closing process that people may not be aware of. So just let the people know how they can prepare and some of the things that they just need to know in general.
All right. Well, I've worked in this industry, the mortgage, foreclosure, bankruptcy, everything, the entire industry, and I've seen it from different perspectives. Now, when it comes to the closing, I would say 99% of the homeowners have no clue what they're doing at all. They are relying on a closing attorney to direct them, and that closing attorney is not there to direct them. That closing attorney represents the lender. That means that if you don't have your own representative assisting you and explaining you everything you need to know about the closing, you are lost and you are going to lose big time, big time. So when you look at a closing, one of the main things that you need to know and understand, and a real estate agent will not tell you this, this is not their lane. You need a trust. You need a trust. When you go to the closing and sign documents for 2 to 3 hours just signing documents, you need to know what you're signing, why, and what that means.
Mm-hmm.
What you also need to know is that there are laws pertaining to mortgages and closing, and you need to know all of those laws, rules, and regulations. So at a closing, you sign documentation. You sign the documentation and you're just excited and you're putting your signature on everything. And that is not good because you don't really know what it is you're signing. Many people who already have a mortgage will tell you their mortgage gets transferred 10, 15 times and they don't like it, but there's nothing they can do about it. That's because at the closing, you're going to sign a document, a blank document, giving them permission to transfer your mortgage as many times as they want to.
Mm.
So they're not transferring the mortgage without your permission. You gave them permission and they have your signature on the document at the closing. Now, remember, this is another law that you want to research. You cannot or you should not you, the lender, should not ever separate the deed from the note. But they separate the deed from the note As soon as the ink dries, it's separated. They're not supposed to separate it. So basically, what I'm saying, a deed and a note, what I'm saying is the debt is tied to the home. One represents the debt and the other represents the home. So if they separate the deed and a note, that means the debt and the home have been separated.
So let me back up. So you have the promissory note, and then you have the deed of trust. So what you're saying is that the promissory note should be connected to the deed of trust, but what they're doing is they're separating the two.
That is correct because
Okay.
they're greedy and they continue to try to make money because what they do with the note is they take the note and they sell that note for 10 times the value. Now, you might
Mm-hmm.
be buying a $300,000 home. On that note, it's going to say $300,000. Guess
Mm-hmm.
what? They can sell that note up to 10 times the value. That's $3 million. They can sell the note to an investor. We've done this in the past, worked with groups, and we help clients get into homes. They sign the paperwork. We take the note. And before the client or the homeowner comes in to sign the paperwork, we already have the note sold. We got an investor on the table before they come in to sign the paperwork. Before the ink is dry, we have an investor to purchase that note, and it can be another financial institution.
So you mean to tell me this is why they don't give you adequate time to read the documentation before you get to the closing table, because if one were to really sit down and read it, they would be able to see things that the lender or the closing agent doesn't want you to see.
That's correct because actually, technically, you are supposed to get the closing documents 72 hours before the closing so you can read over the documents.
Mm.
And they don't want you to do that
Mhm.
because you have too many questions and things don't make sense. So they get you in there all excited, all giddy. You're about to get the keys to a house and you sign your life away and all those documents and all the value and money and interest and everything related to that paperwork is signed over to them and they're getting paid and you're stuck with a 30-year mortgage. Now, you're supposed to set up a trust before you go to the closing. Why? Certain signatures on the documents relate to the debt. Okay, that's your name. Certain signatures at the closing on the documents relate to the home. That's the trust name. So just like they separate the deed of trust from the promissory note, you come into the closing intelligently signing the trust name on the property, signing your name on the debt. What does that mean? That means even though they have insurance on this whole process, they believe that you will never make every single payment for the next 30 years. That's why they set you up in a 30-year mortgage. I don't know why anybody would ever want to be in a 30-year mortgage. It does not make sense, but you do it
Mm.
anyway.
Mhm.
Now, if you think about this, they are planning because they are controlling so much of the economy. They know that somewhere down the road, you're going to get sick because of the way you eat. They know somewhere down the road, you're probably going to lose your job. Who works on one job for 30 years? So you're going to lose your job. You're going to have health issues. All these things are going to happen. And so many people, somewhere above 50%, lose their homes. So now they get the house back. They get to keep all the money that you've given them. And now they get to turn around and start the process over again with someone else.
This is this is
And you
it's
have
diabolical.
lost so much. It is really. You have lost so much money, time, and energy that you put into this house. You might have had some work done on it. Now you're losing the house, and everything you put into it is gone.
So, in addition to knowing ahead of time that there needs to be some sort of asset protection vehicle set up before you go to the closing table and sign the documents, what is another thing that people need to be concerned about prior to getting to the closing table? So, this is why I'm asking, because a lot of people may think that when they go and sit down with the closing agent or an attorney, that the attorney is there to represent them.
Correct. Well, the attorney cannot represent you and represent the lender at the same time. That's against the law. So you don't have an attorney there. And, believe me, several years ago, I bought my first house and I thought the attorney was there for me. And I realized after the fact that he was not there for me. Now, this the other part about that you want to keep in mind. You're going to go now. That if you do some research, you'll find that there have been lawsuits and people have won their home because they claim that the attorney was there and did not advise them. And the attorney did not make it clear that he was not there for them. So today, when you go to purchase a home, you go into a room with everybody in there. Everybody's excited. They give you this little gift basket with all this, welcome home stuff
This
in
little
it.
$20 gift basket.
$20 gift basket with all this Dollar Tree
Dollar Tree stuff.
gifts in a gift basket. And they say, go into this room over here. And the only person in that room is you and a signing agent, a notary signing agent.
They don't even use attorneys anymore at the closing.
Well, the attorney cannot, by law, cannot go into that room when you sign the documents because that way he has what they call deniability. Plausible deniability that I did not advise them. I was not in the room when they signed the documents or anything. So you can't come back now and file a lawsuit to get your home or to save your home and state that the attorney did not advise you because he was not in the room when you signed the documents.
Wow.
That's why you have these notary signing agents making all this money because they're going to the closing. All they do is notarize your signature on the documents. So what you want to know is you want to make sure that you have a trust set up with a trust account and everything, because what you're going to be doing, and listen, if you have the trust, this protects you. This is some protection from foreclosure because the property is going to be in the name of the trust. The trust only holds assets. It cannot hold debt. It has nothing to do with debt. The debt is on your name, not the house. So same way that they separate the debt from the home, you have to separate the debt from the home. That's why you come in with your trust information and you write your trust name on the documents as it pertains to the property and write your name on the documents as it pertains to the debt.
That's deep.
Now, the other thing is this. They never loaned you any money and they never will. Why would someone who is greedy loan you money knowing that you're going to most likely 50% of the time lose the house anyway? Why would I loan you money when 50% of the people are going to lose the house anyway? So you're signing a promissory note that says at the top, for the loan that I have received, I agree to pay back $300,000. When they never loaned you one penny, but they took the note and sold it and made money on the note. And now the investor takes the note and registers with the SEC and securitizes that note. And now they make money on that note for the next 33 years.
So not only did they make money on the note, what happened to the deed of trust?
They're going to make money on the deed of trust as well. They're going to make money on that. And, I know we'll go into that as even deeper as we go into the next episode. But that is something else we want to kind of talk about as well. But they're making money on the deed. They're making money on the note. And they're making money on you because you're going to continue to give them a mortgage payment every single month for 30 years. Or whenever you get sick or health issues or whatever happens. These things happen. Life happens. And next thing you know, you're losing the house and now you got to find somewhere else to live. It happens more than you realize. And some of you already know it's happened to you or your family members have lost the home that they've been in for years, that you grew up in, and they lost the home. Now, keep in mind, as I mentioned before, you're signing a promissory note that says that they loaned you money. No, they didn't loan you money. what they did is they sold that promissory note, and say they sold it for $3 million on a $300,000 loan. Now, what do you think they did with those funds? The lender sold the note, so now it has $3 million. Well, they put those in escrow accounts, and they may call them deposit accounts, special deposits, but those accounts are set up because they know that without your signature, because remember, you are the money. Without your signature on the documents, nobody got paid. Nobody became wealthy until you signed the documents.
So your signature activated the values associated with that promissory note.
Yes, your signature made everything happen.
You're like a superhero.
You're a superhero
for
them, but not for yourself.
Wow.
And that's how it's set up. It's been set up like that for 50 plus years. Now, I think, I've got 20 some years. You got some years in the industry.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure we got about 45 plus, maybe 50 years
combined
in the financial industry.
Yeah.
We've seen this stuff. There's more stuff that I can tell you, and we're going to, kind of discuss that as we go to the next episodes as well, because there's more information you really need to know that's on the table.
Yes.
A lot more, because yeah, they sold the note, they made money. Some of that money belongs to you, but you don't even know it. Some of the money that they made off the note because of your signature belongs to you, but you don't know it. Now, keep this in mind. As I said before, you're going to need to set up a trust. Yep, you can help you set up trust. Everybody can help you set up a trust, a really strong, solid, foundational trust. You set up a bank account. What you're going to do, you should never make your mortgage payment out of your personal bank account. Your trust should be making every single mortgage payment from the first mortgage payment to the very last. Why? Now you have a paper trail of your trust making all these payments. And guess what? If something happens down the road, 15 years down the road, and they want to foreclose on you, guess what? Your trust is a separate entity outside of you. And so now your trust can enter into that foreclosure court case, and show every single payment that the trust, not you, that the trust submitted to the lender. And the judge will have to take that into consideration before he makes a final decision on if he's going to give this home to the lender. And now the lender will have to reimburse the trust every single mortgage payment that the trust paid to the lender over the last 15 years if they want the home. Now they have a dilemma. And now you have them in a position where they're going to do what? They're going to walk away, let you have the house, or let the trust have the house, retain that house, because the trust already is holding the house. And so now they can't just come out and try to take that property from you. They're not going to reimburse the trust any money because they're too greedy.
True.
They already have the securities. So they're making money already on the securities. So why would they want to give money back to the trust? They'll walk away from the house, hold on to the securities, make their money there, and deal with the other 20, 30 million mortgages that they have on the table.
So this is so good. This is so good. And this is what people really need to know. They really need to understand exactly what's happening. But let me ask you, how important is it to ensure that you are signing in some capacity or with some form of qualifying signature? Because a lot of people don't realize that when they sign, that is necessary for them to either express the trust or sign in a capacity where they are protecting or preserving their rights.
Well, that's another area that we want to really dive into as well, because you need to know how to sign your name, and you need to know what your title is as well.
You need to know who you are
in
that transaction.
That is correct. You need to know who you are, whose you are, and what your title is, all at the same time, before you just go in there and write first name, middle initial, last name. there needs to be something behind that as
Yes.
well. Because if there's something behind that, the correct title behind that, you can be in a position where you can always come back and claim anything that has been created from your energy, from
Mm-hmm.
your signature. That's going to be incredible to realize that, wow, they created securities, and those securities would not have made them a fortune without my signature.
That's
Now
true.
think about this. If they took that promissory note and they securitized that note and they're making money on that security for the next 30 years, they're going to make 15, $20 million right there off of that security or more.
Mm-hmm.
Most times it's a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But if they make $15 million in 30 years off of that security, they wouldn't have made that money without your signature. Your signature made all that happen. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because you are the money.
Yes.
Think about this. You are the money. No one gets paid until you put your signatures on all those documents.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand and be more savvy before you go to the closing, not after. You don't want to learn after the fact, because by then it may be too late. But I will say this, if you have the right people around you, it'll never be too late. You'll be able to go back and claim what is rightfully yours and claim the interest that belongs to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, like I said, that's a whole nother 45 minutes just discussing that part right there, that aspect of it right there. So this whole series here, there's a lot more information that we're going to be sharing. This is just a very important part because there's so many people out here trying to purchase a home,
Yes.
and before you go to purchase that home, you better have a trust in place.
Yes. And one of the other points that I wanted to bring out that the people will want to think about is first in line, first in time, first in line, first in time. Right?
Yeah,
Did
first
I
in
say it
time,
right?
first in line.
First in time, first in line. What does that mean? There are some things that you're going to want to prepare for that you are going to do in terms of that mortgage after you leave the closing table that needs to be done before the lender does what they do. Speak a little bit about that.
Well, the lender is going to file their documentation
Mm-hmm.
in the county that the property is in.
Right.
Not only file that paper, they're going to, as I said before, they're going to move forward with the security, registering that security.
Yep.
You want to make sure that you understand what's happening and take the necessary steps after the closing to
Secure your interest.
your interest. There you
Yes.
go.
Yes.
Secure your interest. And that interest is very valuable. It's
Mm-hmm.
value on the table, and you may be walking away from that, and you will not realize it. And that's what they call abandonment.
Yes.
You are abandoning your interest in this transaction.
Mm.
You are walking away from so much, and you don't realize it.
Mm.
So that's another topic. We can spend another 45 minutes on that topic
Alone.
and alone, and we will go into that as well. But we want to make sure that you are equipped and prepared before you go to the closing. One of the main things is we want to coach you. One of the second thing is we want to make sure you got a trust.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to the closing, know what documents to put the trust name on and what documents to put your name on.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're holding the debt. The trust is holding the property so that you don't lose it. And like I said, just think about that. If you've been making a mortgage payment out of the trust account for 15 years and you lose the home, guess what? Either you're going to keep that home in foreclosure or they're going to pay your trust back 15 years of mortgage payments.
Yeah, this is serious, folks. This is serious. When you go to purchase a home, that is likely for most people going to be the largest transaction that one would complete in a lifetime. You're not going to see anything bigger than a house, bigger than a mortgage, right? That is the largest transaction. So The thing that has always been vexing to me is why don't more people become more educated regarding the mortgage process? I get it that people are just excited. They're excited to walk away from the closing table with their keys, and they want to begin their lives, whatever that looks like for them. But people don't take the time out to really become educated regarding the mortgage process. And then, something happens along the way and they find themselves in a jam where they cannot prevent the bank or a financial institution from taking their home. There are some things that we need to think about. We have to do our own research and due diligence regarding this process, and ask the right questions. It's okay to ask questions to the right people. It's okay to reach out to the lender prior to the closing. It's okay to make a request for a copy of your documents prior to the closing. It's okay to not allow them to rush you through the process, right? Because they will try to rush you through the process. This is something that we really, really need to sit and think about and ponder before we decide to commit to a mortgage. There's so many implications there that we need to think about. It's so much to talk about on this topic. So we're going to be exploring this over the remaining 4 episodes. So you all are going to definitely want to stay tuned in. But I think that this was a great discussion. Our part one on mortgages at the closing table. And again, we're just talking, right? We're just talking, but we wanted to explore certain things to get you all to begin to think, to get your juices flowing, all right, to get your blood flowing so that you can know and understand that is not a simple transaction like people would think. There's more to it than just showing up at the closing, signing your documents, and walking away with the keys, right? So much more. So, money matters. In closing, what final thoughts do you want to leave with the people in terms of preparing for a mortgage closing?
Well, in closing today, the most important aspect you want to understand is that you are the money and your signature is an extension of the money. And they do create securities with the promissory note. And it says on the promissory note, security instrument.
Mm-hmm.
The other aspect is when you look at the promissory note, it says at the top, clear as day, because they're disclosing to you what they want you to see, and you're still looking at it, even though it's not true, and you're
Mm,
still signing the document.
mm,
So
mm, mm.
for the money that I have received, that's what it says on there. They never gave you any loan, any money.
There was never an entry on the books of the financial institution at all. There's
Never,
nothing on the balance sheet.
never.
Mm-mm.
Also, if you make a down payment with a money order. If you are making a down payment with a money order, and I know some people may, go get a check,
Or they might
a
send a
cashier's
wire.
check or a
They might
wire.
send a wire. Mm-hmm.
I would recommend that you don't do a wire, that you do a a check from the bank. The reason is because that check from the bank is going to be securitized. That's another security,
Mm, mm,
and people
mm.
don't know this. So your down payment, if you make that with a cashier's check from your bank, credit union, what have you, they're going to securitize that as well. So they're going to securitize every piece of paper they can securitize with your signature on.
They make a money hand over fist and got the nerve to place you in a trustee position and obligor liable to pay the debt when they're making money probably 4 or 5 different ways.
Yes.
It's sickening. It's just crazy. The system is not set up to protect you, so you have to know how to protect yourself. It's never going to be set up to protect you. The system is designed to oppress you. And the sooner we know that and come to terms with that and figure out a way to navigate this matrix, it's just going to continue.
And if you have not worked on the inside, working in the mortgage department, the foreclosure department, bankruptcy department, if you have not worked in the investment world where you actually saw this taking place, promissory notes, securitized with the
Mhm.
SEC,
Yeah.
if you have not done that, there's not too much you're going to be able to say working on the outside, trying to see what's going on the inside.
Yeah.
You're on the outside. The door is locked. How are you going to get in and see what's going on the inside? So we worked in the financial industry,
Yes.
in the mortgage department. We
Mm-hmm.
saw the documents. We saw the promissory notes. I worked in the investment world.
Mm-hmm.
I was a stockbroker. I know what's going on with these promissory notes. They're
Mm-hmm.
registered with the SEC.
Yes.
They are securities. So if you want to talk to somebody who's worked in these industries and saw what was going on from the inside, not from the outside, looking through a window trying to figure out what's going on, you didn't even know that there are 3 escrow accounts for every single residential mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
3 escrow accounts. You only know about one of them.
And that's the one that they use to pay your taxes and insurance. That's the only one that you're gonna know about.
Correct. So if you didn't work inside of the industry, you don't know that there's 3 escrow accounts for every residential mortgage. You
Just
don't know that.
yes, just listen, folks. It's so much information. It's a lot to consider. It's a lot. All right. So this is the first of the series. All right. So, like I said, this is conversation where we want to get your juices flowing, get you to begin to think because there's so much more to talk about here. But those were all great points. Everything
Yes.
that we talked about this evening were all great points. I hope that you all have taken notes. Listen, when you come onto the channel, you definitely want to come prepared to take notes. I know that you can all come back and watch the replay, but most people are not going to watch a replay, especially if you watch the live broadcast. For those of you that are watching live and that will come back to watch the replay and you have intentions on purchasing a home this year, this is going to be a very important podcast for you to tune into. All right, because we're going to be dropping a lot of gems over the next 4 episodes. All right, so you definitely want to stay connected. So we appreciate you all for joining us this evening and staying until the end. We thank you so very much for your support of the channel. Please come back on our next episode, which is going to be airing on the 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be at the exact same time. All right, so go ahead and put your notification bell on for the channel. You definitely want to go ahead and lock in. All right, we're going to take you on a journey. So, again, we really do appreciate you taking the time out to join us this evening. And we hope that you have a blessed rest of your day. And we will see you all in the next episode. Peace and love, everyone.